This is my gimbal design using off-the-shelf parts from a local hardware store. This is a Traxxas 5151 U-joint and off-the-shelf skateboard bearings. This is a half-inch slip joint at one end and a threaded on the other end, and a standard skateboard bearing. Use light oil and a regular workshop vise, and you can press the bearing down, get it seated, and using any socket that's slightly smaller than the plastic fitting but about as big around as the bearing to seat it properly, to seat it fully into the plastic fitting. Carefully get a socket and that will not interfere with the rubber seal on the side of the bearing. I nicked one and ended up having a tight bearing and having to pull it apart and redo it. The next thing I did was, after the bearing was seated, was this is the female end of the Traxxas 5150 U-joint. Found it on, you put it search in eBay and you'll find them all day for around $6 for 2 U-joints. After trimming the fitting, and this is a spacer really to slip on the female end for the bearing to seat on. After checking the height, I cut off slightly lower than the height of the bearing. Be very careful not to over tighten the vise because you can easily crush the U-joint. After cutting this, I did end up having to use a grinder to square up my cut. The saw was not exactly cutting straight. After double checking the height, squaring off the end with the grinder, and I'm now paring down the size of the shaft of the male end so it will fit inside the bearing. Again, using a little bit of light oil. This is about an 8mm 2-inch bolt, and it fits just right inside the U-joint. And the block of wood has holes drilled in it so as not to interfere with the U-joint itself. You line it up just right, and a little bit of pressure, you can get the U-joint seated. Here's the finished product of the bearing seated. The next step, this is a number 8 sheet metal screw, 3/4 of an inch long, with a 5mm washer, cut washer. Find them at any big box hardware store. You can take the bolt and use it to hold the U-joint so it's easier to tighten. Then with a little finesse, you get the U-joint seated. Actual main part of the U-joint just pops in with a little bit of finesse. You can get it to pop back into place. The upper half. Now the collars of those joints can be cut off so they're not so tall. This is a Schedule 80 6-inch or 5-inch Schedule 80 threaded nipple, a 1/2-inch plastic cap threaded, and there you have it, the completed gimbal. Thanks to other YouTube users, this is how I came up with this off-the-shelf design.